Jake Paul. My name's Kelsey McCarson. I write about combat sports for Bleacher Report and for Heavy. Man, I'm going to tell you, today, when the news broke of you're going to fight Ben Askren on April 17th, I was so surprised and so excited about it. Tell me, what do you think about this fight, man? I'm hyped.
Bro, I'm hyped too, man. This is gonna be a historic night. April 17th is going down, but yo, this is why it's exciting, right? You have the MMA community versus the boxing community. You have a Bellator world champ. You have a 19-2 kid, less losses than McGregor. You have a two-time NCAA Division I wrestling champion, and then you have me, the Disney Channel actor, YouTuber, not a real fighter. A bunch of people hate this kid. Let's see him get knocked out. So, it's exciting, and I haven't even shown the world, what I'm capable of in this sport yet. I'm just scratching the surface. It's my third fight, my third pro fight. I'm already 2-0, 2 KOs. So, I'm looking for 3-0, 3 KOs here.
Last time I talked to you, I asked you if you beat Nate Robinson, which you did, viral knockout, awesome. I asked you, are you going to do something crazy like grab the mic and call out Mike Tyson? And you said, absolutely not. I want to live. And then, lo and behold, dude, I'm watching this fight, and you call out Conor McGregor?
Facts. Mike Tyson's a different animal than Conor McGregor. First of all, Mike Tyson is a boxer. And second of all, he's a heavyweight. McGregor is 155 pounds. He's 5'9". I have a longer reach than him. You just seen him get knocked out. He's a little washed up. So the Conor McGregor fight's a different fight, man. And everyone thinks I'm crazy for wanting that. And everyone's going to say, oh, Jake's going to get knocked out. Like, these motherfuckers don't know what they're talking about, okay? Pardon my French. But, I live, breathe, eat, sleep this boxing. So I know my capabilities. I know how good of a fighter I am. And that's why I'm calling out all of these MMA fighters and all of these NFL players, anyone, celebrities, whoever it is, YouTubers. I'm calling them all out because it's like, bro, let's just handle the business. Ben Askren just happens to be the first one on that list. He happens to be, one of the guys that we were talking to that actually wanted the fight. Because we were talking to 5, 6 guys, and when it comes down to signing the contract, a lot of these guys run away.
Were you surprised at that? Like, I know that you were tied to Michael Bisping, you've been tied to Dylan Dennis, or a lot of interesting things. I didn't know what to make about all that, but here we are. I was so surprised when you're really going to fight Ben Askren. But are you surprised? Because you're saying that he's the only one that would sign the dotted line. Are you surprised about that?
I am because I think a lot of these guys act tough on social. A lot of these fighters, they have a brand to uphold. But you have to think about it. If you're a fighter and you want to have a long career, and at the start of it, Jake Paul knocks you out, your career is over. Your career is over. And people haven't even seen my boxing ability, but I think from what they have seen, they know that I can crack. I mean, that's why the last 2 guys you see, it doesn't last more than, a couple minutes.
Yeah, you definitely put in the time. I've noticed that. Even before you turned pro, I could tell that you had put in the time to get better at boxing. Ben Askren said that he was your second choice. Is that true? Was he the second choice?
We were weighing all the options. I think people wanted the Dylan Dennis fight, but he was blaming his knee injury. He can't box. He's not a good striker. I think he knows he would get knocked out. Again, Dylan Dennis is like 5'9" or 5'10". He's a lighter guy. And when it comes down to it, if he wants to have a long career, he can't get knocked out by Jake Paul, this early on in his career, if you would even call it that. I mean, so we were weighing all the options and we kept everything open. And at the end of the day, April 17th, the date. If one person wants to blame a knee injury, if the other person, can't get ready in time, if McGregor has another fight, at the end of the day, we need to lock down an opponent. And Ben Askren's a great opponent. We're not taking him lightly. We're not taking him lightly at all. He's a serious guy, and he is 19-2 as an MMA fighter. And that's what the people wanted. You know, I knocked out an NBA player, and they were like, "Oh, well, he was just an NBA player." Da da da. But before that, they were like, "Oh, Nate Robinson's going to kill Jake." So now I'm giving the people what they want by taking on a real fighter.
Yeah, and that's what was so compelling to me. I thought your last fight was compelling because I was interested to see how a world class athlete like Nate Robinson, if he could adjust to boxing that fast. Turns out probably couldn't, right? Or you at least up with how long that you had been training. That was a long time, and I was a little worried about that. That played out. This fight, Ben Askren has been a legitimate fighter for the last decade or so, right? I mean, he's not gonna freeze when you're throwing punches at him. How do you feel like? Do you feel like he's like a huge step up from where you were, from who you fought last, or how do you feel about that?
Yes, no, it's definitely a huge step up. But that's what I want to continue. That's what I want to do in this sport. I want to prove myself. I want people to be like, "Damn, this is going to be a really hard fight for him," and I want to show them, "No, it wasn't." Yes, this is a big step forward, but that's what's going to keep these fights entertaining. And after Askren, I'm going to take another big step forward. Like I said, the world hasn't seen my boxing ability, so only me and my coaches know what I'm capable of, and it's really exciting.
You're kind of, a lot of MMA fans, man. They are definitely rooting against you. I've seen it all over Twitter. But then I see guys like UFC double champion or retired double champion Daniel Cormier pick you to win the fight. What's it like to kind of get the best of both, right? You get some people see your talent ability, some people love you just because who you are, and some people absolutely hate you.
Yeah, you know what? I wish them the best. I've never been a hater. I don't hate on people. I've always wanted to see everyone succeed. So I've never had the hater mentality. So I don't get it. I can't relate to those people. I think they're filled with jealousy, envy. I think they don't love themselves. They have ego problems, etc. I've just never been a hater, so I don't really get it. People are always going to talk and have opinions. Welcome to life. I chose to be, I chose to live this life, and I chose to be controversial and to be polarizing and to be myself. And I chose to not give up what the repercussions are. So I could give. If people don't like me, then they don't like me. But you bet your ass there's, my 50 million plus followers that, and those are my supporters, and I love them, and they know that we're lit. They know that I love them. They know what we're about, and that's my army. They've been with me since I was 17 years old when I first started making content, and I feel like we're an army. Me and my fans, me and my supporters, we're an army of people, and I think it's only going to grow. And, the MMA community can be mad. I'd be mad too.
But since your knockout of Nate Robinson, you've kind of gone like full supervillain mode. You talked about being controversial. Do you do that on purpose? So my story I make up is that there's a method to that madness on why you do stuff like that.
No, yeah, 100%. I mean, I don't even need to drill into it. I show people what I want them to see. And what I know,
because you drive interest. People, I mean, look, you had the DAZN stuff, right? You fought on DAZN. Then I'm guessing Triller came along. They want to pay you to fight. So it sounds like you have a lot of people that are interested in what you do, and in boxing.
No, for sure. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a business, and if you can sell those tickets and push those pay-per-views, that's all that matters. You could be the best fighter in the world, but if no one knows who you are or is going to want to see you fight, then it doesn't matter.
What about the $50 million offer? That's off the table for good. Were you serious about that?
No, that was serious. Yeah, I mean, we showed the $50 million in proof of funds to Conor's team. He obviously should have taken that. He probably regrets it now, but that offer is no longer on the table. I mean, he can't even win in his own sport. So, he needs to get a couple wins under his belt, and maybe there's going to be interest in that fight. I think it still sell a lot of pay-per-views at Jake Paul versus McGregor. But I'm going to do my thing for a bit. I'm sure he's going to do his thing for a bit, and maybe we can circle back when the timing is right.
Ariel Helwani said that Dana White had to give Ben Askren permission for him to do this fight. Previously, you stated that Dana White was afraid to give UFC fighters permission. What's your message to Dana White after he gave Ben Askren permission to fight you?
Thank you. Thank you for letting me beat out of one of your fighters. This won't be the first one, Dana. So let's do more business. I mean, I'm sure he hates me. I've said some funny trolling He said some back. We've gone back and forth. It is what it is. I'm kind of over it. Who cares? But it's definitely interesting because when Jake Paul beats up a UFC fighter, I don't know how good of a reflection that's going to be on the UFC's brand.
Is that what you want to continue to do? Assuming you beat Ben Askren, you want to keep fighting UFC fighters?
Yeah. I mean, whoever makes sense, right? Like Nate Diaz initially started talking shit to me on Twitter. I would love to fight Nate Diaz, after Askren.
Really? That surprises me. That's what I mean. Like, where does it stop? So Nate Diaz he's fought legitimately at welterweight, which is 170 pounds. Would you want to fight like Israel Adesanya at 185? Like, how far do you go up before you stop thinking like, maybe I don't want to jump in there? Did you fight Tyson Fury?
Nah. It just has to make sense. Like, Diaz started talking shit to me. Diaz is striking a bit like, bro, Diaz is a punching bag. Like, the guy goes into fights and just walks forward.
Yeah, he's scrappy.
He's tough. He's tough, but, a lot of guys are tough. So the Diaz fight makes sense, and he'll get tatted up. We'll see what happens. I mean, we're talking to Diaz's team. He wants to do it as well. He has 2 more fights with the UFC, apparently. So we'll see what happens. If he frees up from the UFC and the timing of it's right, that fight, Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz, is going to happen eventually. But but I'm not overlooking Ben Askren. Like I said, April 17th, I have to take care of business. And I plan on violently knocking out Ben Askren and adding him to the meme collection of people that I've knocked out.
You love that meme collection, huh?
It's meme season, bro. It's meme collection season. You already know.
Yeah, well, I'm excited about the fight. I love this kind of stuff. This is what boxing originally was back in the 1900s. Is who did you want to see fight who? I was super surprised, like I said, that you were going to take on Ben Askren, but that tells me that you absolutely believe in your boxing ability. And you also, it seems to be, because I've heard you say it a couple times, you think that these MMA fighters don't have the boxing skill to keep up with you. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because I've seen it both ways, right? Obviously, Floyd Mayweather could outbox Conor McGregor easily, but like, how far along are you versus an MMA fighter who's trained at least partially in boxing for like a decade?
I'm farther along by far, way more advanced than an MMA guy who's trained striking for a decade. If they come into the boxing ring, they're getting worked. Striking in MMA is a completely different thing. It's not even the same. You're not moving your head, because if you move your head, boom, you're getting kicked, you're getting kneed. Like, they're stiff, they're more wild, they're coming over the top. They're not using their hips to punch as much. It's a completely different art. There's less jabs, different combinations. You're a little bit more square in your stance, so you can kick and sprawl and take down. I mean, it's not even the same thing. We're talking about 2 sports that both involve hitting people, so people like to compare them, but in my eyes, they're polar opposites, man.
Well, I think it's one of the most compelling stories in sports, I think, what you're doing, because a lot of people will say stuff, but not a lot of people then actually do that thing. You're actually doing that thing. I can't wait to see it, man. It's twice in a row. I can't wait to see a Jake Paul fight. So thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, man. April 17th, Triller. I appreciate it, man. Thank you for all the support and everything. It really means a lot, man. I'm going to put on a show.
Great. Can't wait to see it.
Peace out, guys.